4.5 years ago when we got started with this business, I mean, we couldn't see straight. I mean, 4 offices, 4 states, 60, 70 hours a week, trying to raise a family, not a lot of quality time at all, right? And when our friend approached us, I said no a bunch of times. Mary said no a bunch of times. We just didn't want to look at anything else because we were trying to figure out how we were just going to get through the next week of the next loan closings, right? Or where we were going to have to travel to next. But fortunately, she went around and said, hey, listen, there's a guy in your office. We'd really like to talk to him. Great, here's his number, talk to him. We thought that was the end of it. We thought that let us off the hook, right? We didn't have to listen to this thing about Ambit anymore. Then, come back the next night when we're having dinner with him and said, listen, he's going to do really good at this business. Do you want him to just make us money, or would you like to make some money? I said, well, by all means. We will definitely sign up. So we did sign up, but I didn't know the name of the company. Kept calling it Ambien. And I love what Philip Eckhart says, which is, no, Ambien's that sleeping pill. That's what you have to take once you start Ambit, right? And but over the next few months, we really didn't do a whole lot. But that person did, went out and built a team. And we started getting little residual checks. And that first check was $12. But in the 6th month, that check grew to a little over $300. And it caught Mary's attention.
Well, that was 2007. We started building the business, and we started getting some traction. I think that Ambition was at Lost Pines in Bastrop, and just outside of Austin. My brother was getting married that weekend. So we went up there, and Richard drove back and forth. I went up there for the first day and a half, and then Richard drove back and forth 3 times just to be at as much of Ambition as possible. And he caught some slack from my family. I mean, when you have a Vietnamese wedding, it's an all-day affair. You got the tea ceremony, you got the, picking up of the bride, the whole shebang. And he said, do I have to be there? I said, you're going to get in trouble for it, but you have my blessing. Go to Ambition. And I think we had, 4 people there at Ambition. It was, just a few people. And I saw the value of Ambition so much and how much I had missed by not being there on Saturday that my other brother got engaged the following year. And I said, listen, if you get married over Labor Day weekend, I will not be at your wedding. I mean, that was how adamant I was. I was not going to ever miss Ambition ever again. And sure enough, he didn't get married on Labor Day weekend because I didn't know how I was going to break it to him that I was going to be there. So the next year, which was 2008, that was the year of my bed rest, and we didn't have a whole lot of activity during that time. And I'll be honest with you, a lot of our leaders just went away. They didn't have it in them to keep coming when we weren't prodding them. They didn't have it in them, but their customers stayed, and our residual kept growing, and we had some activity, and we got as many people there as possible. Zach was only 3 months old. We hired a nanny to come stay with us in our suite to watch Zach so I can go back and forth from the convention. I was nursing him in the hallway. I'd be in general session. It was in the ballroom, where a lot of the training sessions were. And I'd go out to the hallway and I'd nurse him in the hallway, and I'd come back, and I did it in the hallway so I couldn't miss Ambition. Not just for my team, but for myself. I needed that dream building. I needed that hearing other people's stories. So I'm back and forth, in and out. A lot of you nursing moms, some of you dads know, it's 2.5, 3 hours, and I'm going back and forth in and out of the room and doing as much as I can. And I think that year we had, 20, maybe 10 people, not very many, because most of them had died on the vine. They just didn't have the leadership, and we were prodding them, but they didn't want to do anything. But in 2010, we had 75 people at Ambition. And then this last year, we had 200 people at Ambition, and half of those people were EC coded to us. So, it really is. When we start summer, one of the things we do is how many people do we want to, the beginning of the year, that's one of our goals, is how many people at Ambition. And we whittle away until we get there. At the beginning of the year, that's one of our yearly goals, is how many people at Ambition. Because I think one of the things I told people is, I don't know if it's an exact number, but it's probably pretty close. For every person you have at Ambition, it's anywhere between $500 and $1,000 you're making in the fall. It's not an exact science, but Brian might say it's pretty.
Thank you, Jesus.
It's a pretty good indicator, because that's how much the thing is you'll work really hard to get people to Ambition or to Power Trip or to the Women's Conference or wherever that is. But the conference, the convention, the training will get them the rest of the way. You just got to get them there. And sometimes you got to beg, borrow, and plead to get them there. I mean, listen, I begged my parents to come just to hear me do the training at the breakout session, and my dad's got guests coming to Monday night's meeting. I mean, it's crazy. That was not the intention. I just wanted him to see what we were doing because I didn't think he was ever going to re-engage in the business. He did a little bit years ago. He still gets a residual from that. He still gets his free electricity. But he was not interested in talking to people, though he knows thousands of people. But he caught the vision and ambition. I didn't have to shove it down his throat. He caught it for himself, and that's what the trainings do for you.
You know, whatever happened, you know, wherever you happened prior to Ambition, where you are right now, even if you're a guest in the room, you've got a way to pick up on this momentum, okay, and this energy that's in all of our rooms. I mean, the Dallas meeting just went from 130 people to standing room only, which is over 200 people in less than 7 days after Ambition. You know, next week it's going to be, you know, out the door. So we're going to continue growing. The Tuesday night meetings here, again, going to keep on growing, getting bigger. But what you've got to do is go from event to event. Starting right now, you've got to build from event to event. Some people want to resist that process. Listen, the more you resist, I assure you the results you're pursuing will not happen. You do not get to be the smart kid in the back of the room sitting on your hands going, I know all the answers, and think your check's going to grow. Our check in this recession has grown every month. This recession is not over. So for over 4.5 years, our check goes up every month. Now that's to a testimony of coming out of a mortgage industry that completely imploded, that would have sucked us dry, that would have taken us all the way down to the deep mires of bankruptcy if our friend didn't say, listen, I care about you, I want you to take a look at something new. Thank God she was persistent. She did that 10 times with us. And thank God she was willing to go start a fire down beneath us thinking we were going to lose out on something. Thank God. I mean, I don't know what else to tell you guys other than go from event to event. Ambition is done. It's over. Ride that wave. Power Trip is next. So do it. Get from event to event. Watch your team grow, and you will watch your check grow.
You're going to talk to people about coming to Power Trip or coming to Ambition, and they're going to give you all the circumstances why they can't, whether it's money or it's time or whatever. And the reality is you got to stand for them to have that breakthrough because this is what they need to not have that circumstance anymore. Like, I get everyone's got circumstances, but you know what? Don't buy into their circumstance. They are not smaller than their circumstance. That people don't have $429 to get into the business, they are not smaller than that $429. Their life and what's at stake for their life is way bigger than that. Same thing with Power Trip. I've heard people say, I don't have the money. You know what? Go sponsor someone and get the money. You know, this business, are you in this business to make money or not? And if you're here to make money, do what you need to do. I hear people all the time saying, I'm doing everything I can. I said, really? When's the last time you've called me for coaching? If you really want to make this work, now is the time to do it. I mean, we are so positioned so well to make so much money in this business. The company has done all the groundwork for us. Our job is just to get people plugged in, plug them in, get them to the event, get them to Power Trip, get them to the simulcast. I promise you, the simulcast will blow their socks off, and so will Power Trip. So will Power Trip. If someone, that Friday night with Jerry and Chris is the greatest validation ever in all of Ambit, in my opinion. I mean, it is really powerful to have your co-founders unscripted, unplugged. They can ask any question they want to ask. They're not looking at them, pre-screening them, prejudging them, or anything. And it's very, very powerful. And if you don't take advantage of this, you will be sorry 5 years from now. I guarantee you. I mean, I know that what mine and Richard's goal to make this year is to make more money this year than we did in the previous 5 with Ambit. And I know that's totally possible, not because of us, but because of what Ambit's already done. You know, we're positioned to do that, and you're positioned to do that. But you got to, just like what Adam said, you got to get Ambit in you, and you got to know that that can happen for you. Like it's nobody's business. You got to know that now's the time for you to do that, regardless of what you've accomplished or not accomplished in Ambit. Today is a new day. And I promise you, there will be people who will come in the business tomorrow that if you don't change, they will smoke you, okay, in earnings and in promotions. And I'm excited because I hope they're in my business, okay? Thanks a lot.